Time for the first of our pre-finals here at the BNL Karting Series kickoff. Up first, it's Minimax. Let's take you through the starting grid. So after yesterday, Jacob Ashcroft not only took pole position, but took wins in both his heats to secure pole position for the pre-final. And the top two rows, it's a complete lockout for the United Kingdom with Ashcroft on pole, Albert Friend alongside him on the front row, Cole Denham and Rory Armstrong on row 2. Then Felipe Reyes and Lars Lambers on row 3, Kai Clark and Lucas Stordeur row 4, Ryan Rivers, the best of the rookie contingent, is on 9th place. Alongside will be Jens Moonen. Alexander Van Meeuwen and Carlos Nees complete the top 12 ahead of Thomas Verheyen and Victor Reitz. João Maria Pereira and Nico van Berkel on row 8. Row 9, Zen Lindemann and Charles Kitely completing the top 20. It's Finn Albert Jorgensen from Denmark, and from the United Kingdom, Hasnain Khan. Maxime Becker, Sigurd Stubber Fredriksson, Bran van der Weken, Bodin Blankenberg, Adrian Steons, Max Moore, Peter Appelman, Jonathan Falkenberg, Jeff Verbeeker, and we've got Ryan Gandor, Ryan Rampandarath, and then we've got Vic van Kampenhout, Mads Kraft, Mikael Kumas, Pauline van Preit and Sees Moyes. And unfortunately, we had to lose one driver, Juliana Marie Schultz, who placed 37th, and we can only have a maximum capacity of 36 drivers on the grid at any one point in time. So now we up the ante to 13 minutes plus an additional lap. And they will also have a 13-minute plus an additional lap final later on after the lunch break. So the time is set at 13 minutes plus an additional lap. Red lights are back again on the starting gantry. So the grid starts to form. Coming out of turn number 11, it's Ashcroft, Friend, Denholm, Armstrong, Reyes, Lambers, Clark, Stordeur, Rivers and Moonen. That is your top 10 out of a compacted, sold-out 36-strong grid. Out of the final corner, into the tram lines, revs rise, are we ready, are we steady? Minimax pre-final gets going on the first time. Good start by Ashcroft. And behind him, Cole Denham follows into second position, but Albert Friend has had a turnaround and it has caused pandemonium behind. Multiple karts involved, including Felipe Reyes, who started on 5th position. But it is Ashcroft that sweeps around the outside of Cole Denham going into turn number 6. Someone's gone a bit wide coming through turn 6. These conditions are greasy and slick, and there's been another turnaround off of turn numbers, this time off of turn number 6, and it's Sigurd Stubber Fredriksson, who is absolutely distraught at what has just happened. The slightest tag on the right rear sent the Danes spinning 180 degrees in the opposite direction. And Ashcroft leads the way. Looks like there's a trio at the front, and it is Kai Clark who's sprinted up the order from 7th to 2nd place. And he's ahead of Cole Denham. Rory Armstrong holding steadfast was holding steadfast in 4th at one point, but has been passed by Lucas Stordeur, who's in 4th position at the moment. Thomas Verheyen, João Maria Pereira from Portugal has gone from 15th up to 7th. Rivers now in 8th place. Jens Moonen and Maxime Becker. Becker had an absolute disastrous first heat yesterday. And the German started down in 21st. He's now in the top 10. Drivers just being ever so cautious going through into turn 6. A little bit of a touch there for Rory Armstrong. Albert Friend negotiating his way back up the order after the spin at turn number 2. A bit more of a strategy call is employed for these longer races. And FM Motors giving a shout out to Hasnain Khan, who's currently up into 16th position from 20th on the grid. As the field now makes its way through turn number 10. Ashcroft leads the way and has a considerable gap as there has been a change. Cole Denham now down into 3rd place behind Lucas Dorder. Now there's a send up the inside through into turn number 12. And that was Thomas Verheyen. And that was on, more importantly, that was on Cole Denham, who now drops to 5th place. Rory Armstrong in 6th. Albert Friend has now made his way back up to 11th position at this moment, having started on the outside of the front row alongside Jacob Ashcroft, whose lead, with 3 minutes elapsed, 2.7 seconds. Lucas Dorder now going after Kai Clark, trying to look to see if he can make the move. There's a nice switch, a nice sort of switch back by Cole Denham on Rory Armstrong through turn number 6. And that further warning shot fired by Ashcroft has sent ripples down the back of the down back the order. And there's a mechanical black flag being shown. It is for the 1-2-7. That's Alexander Van Meeuwen, who's currently running in 12th position at the moment. So the young Belgian will be having to retire, and he's pulled in. And it's the bumper. The right side of the rear bumper is dragging on the ground. And good to hear from Jensen Pritchard in the chat as we now see an overtake. Rory Armstrong on Cole Denham. That was great inspired driving from the youngster from County Down in Northern Ireland. Go on, Hasnain Khan. Best of luck from Zane Quaker. And yeah, I know you wish you were with us, Jensen Pritchard, but good to hear from you. Thanks for bringing your support to sing, cheering on the drivers that you follow. So Lucas Dorder now up into 2nd position ahead of Kai Clark. 4th it's Thomas Verheyen. And now it's Rory Armstrong who's leading the charge in 5th position from behind. And Jacob Ashcroft is putting in quick lap times. His fastest one so far, a 1:17.773, and that was a couple of laps ago. Now on to lap number 4 of this race. 8 minutes to go, plus an additional lap, and Ashcroft is just comfortably pulling away. And now there's going to be a change. Thomas Verheyen went up the inside of Kai Clark, but Clark gets the switch back through the final corner. Verheyen's going to have the slipstream down the start-finish straight. And there is a change again as... that is Vic van Kampenhout. And that is off of turn number 8 by the short rental kart track we have here, just off the circuit. As Thomas Verheyen, again, has made it through on Kai Clark, who now finds himself in 4th position. Albert Friend has now made his way up to 9th position. Good to hear from Hiba Khan, one of the Khan family members, cheering on Hasnain at the moment. As drivers just really trying to find traction on this very, very slick circuit, including Sees Moyes from the Netherlands in the 1:43, currently running at just outside of the top 25. 3.2 seconds after 4 laps was the advantage that our race leader, the 1:22 from Western Supermare, Dan Holland Racing's Jacob Ashcroft. Is that going to be extended? We're about to find out as Lucas Dorder crosses the line. 3.2 seconds. Verheyen, though, in 3rd, decides to put in the fastest lap, and then that's quickly trounced by Albert Friend, who's now up into 8th and is chasing after Cole Denham. The weather is quite a nice equaliser, and there is Albert Friend up the inside. But Cole Denham's going to get the run through turn 4. The back end twitches on the 162, but he gets through, retakes the position. Great, nice, clean exchange between the young pair. A little bit of a wider sweep from Albert Friend through into turn 6 to get the run. Now he's going to get the slipstream down the Europolan and head into turn 7, but was not close enough to facilitate a move, or felt that there was no point in trying to go for a gap that might not be there or might be quickly closed. But Cole Denham runs wide through turn 8. Albert Friend was very much close up the inside. And Albert Friend using the curb behind Cole Denham to try and get through on turn 9. But the Briton in the 191 with Strawberry Racing trying to do his best to get through. He's going to try and get himself as high up the order as he can, because he's got quite a few drivers to get past if he wants to get back onto the front row for the final later on, as Ashcroft crosses the line to complete lap number 6. And Ashcroft goes into the 116s, 116.977. Stodder, Verheyen, Clark, Armstrong, Becker, Denholm, Friend, Pereira and Rivers. That is your top 10, and they are covered by 10.1 seconds. Lucas Stodder trying to close in that gap to Jacob Ashcroft, but it's a little bit easier said than done. Gap after 6 laps was 3.4 seconds, so what Ashcroft is doing is just being quite conservative. We did see one of the heats yesterday, heat 2, where he literally bolted away from the rest of the field, who were squabbling over the scraps over the table, and won by 7.5 seconds. Be an interesting dice for what will be 4th place, as that's being contested by Kai Clark, Rory Armstrong, who's got Maxim Becker going towards the inside of turn number 10. So has the German made it through? He has. So Maxim Becker really trying to revel in these wet weather conditions, whilst the Mojo wet weather rain tyres may be dispersing some of the standing water on the circuit. It could help with track evolution. There's Kai Clark now coming under attack from both Maxim Becker and Rory Armstrong. This is the battle for 4th position on the road. 3 minutes and 30 still to go. Clark uses the curbing through turn 5. Becker and Armstrong used the curbing through turn 6. Armstrong nearly went up the inside of the 157 from Germany. And Sakiba Ijaz also on the YouTube chat saying, go for it, Hasnain. Well, a bit of a Hasnain Khan update. Seems like there's a lot of love in the chat. Is currently sitting in 24th position. But Maxim Becker now through on Kai Clark. And there is Albert Friend. He has been sprinting up the order as the youngster in the 191 entry. Last year's, well, he qualified for the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals in Portimao through the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Festival, which actually is being held at Karting Genk between the 1st and 3rd of September this year. Friend has really got the wind beneath his wings, so to speak. As Armstrong looking up the inside through on Kai Clark, and Albert Friend decides to mug the pair of them through turn 2. It was 3 wide coming out of the corner. Armstrong back in front, Albert Friend in the middle of them, and Clark now relegated back down to what is going to be 7th position. So great intuitive reactive driving from all 3 competitors. Albert Friend sweeps to the outside of turn 6, gets on the power and just blasts past Kai Clark down the Europolan like he was absolutely standing still. Great to see the youngsters showing us how it's all done here on the circuit. Some great exchanges between these 3 and quite a few other drivers. Unfortunately, we've lost a couple of drivers already. Vic van Kampenhout on lap 4. Alexander Van Meeuwen due to a flailing right rear bumper on lap 3. And Adrian Stions, I don't think even took the start. And was due to start 25th. But at the front of the field, well, Jacob Ashcroft is continuing to power his way along. 3.5 seconds was the previous gap. It's now up to nearly 3.75 A little bit of battling a bit further back, and that is including the 107 of Felipe Reis, who might be battling away with João Maria Pereira from Portugal, which is the case. And they've also got the 164 of Charles Kitely. Now, this is the battle for P10. So we'll see how things transpire. Felipe Reis up the inside of Charles Kitely. Kitely gets the switch back, gets the undercut through turn 6, just goes as far as he dare without touching the wet runoff area. Off of turn 6 and just powered past Felipe Reis once again. Very much textbook of what Albert Friend demonstrated a few moments ago through that very same corner. And there is Albert Friend, who is currently sitting in 6th position. So coming to the final few seconds of the opening pre-final of the BNL Karting Series kickoff. And Jacob Ashcroft takes us on to what will be the penultimate lap, lap 11 out of 12. Lucas Stordeur is now 3.862 seconds behind, but has got Thomas Verheyen closing in quite quickly in the battle for P2. And this battle here will decide the other position on the front row alongside Ashcroft. Maxime Becker, Rory Armstrong, Albert Friend, Kai Clark, Cole Denham, Ryan Rivers and Charles Kitely rounding out the top 10. Timer has expired. One more lap remains after this, as our leader is making his way through turn 8 for the penultimate time. And Thomas Verheyen very, very close indeed to the inside of Lucas Stordeur, coming out of turn 7 and into turn number 8. And a little bit of a run wide through turn 9 from Stordeur, but he's able to keep the cut in front of Thomas Verheyen for now. They go through turn 10. Can Verheyen get the traction? He can, but he's not far off alongside the 117. And now he's going to go for the move through into turn 12. He does get through, but does Stordeur have enough in the tank to get through on the inside? He does. Side by side, battle for second. Going on to the final lap, Stordeur retakes that place into turns 1 and 2, but Ashcroft's lead now extends to 4.6 seconds. A little bit of a deep move into turn 2 by Lucas Stordeur, and Thomas Verheyen back through for second once again on the run down to turn number 3. Jacob Ashcroft on the last lap set the fastest lap of the race. He's making his way down towards turn 7 as we speak. 1 minute 16.481 seconds from the 122 from the United Kingdom. As Thomas Verheyen now ahead of Lucas Stordeur. That is going to be pretty much, I think it might be the case, that might be pretty much deciding the other position on the front row of the grid. Jacob Ashcroft making his way down towards turn 10 for the final time on lap number 12. And in the wet weather conditions, Ashcroft on pole, scarpered away into the distance, and he comes out of the final corner. Ashcroft has the advantage going into the final this afternoon. He takes the victory. What a drive by Thomas Verheyen, battling away with Lucas Stordeur for second, with the 117 from Belgium taking third place. Great drive from Maxime Becker, 21st to 4th. Rory Armstrong takes 5th ahead of the recovering Albert Friend, who was on the front row, was backwards and outside of the top 20. He recovers to finish in 6th place. Kai Clark, Cole Denham, Charles Kitely, and running out the top 10, it's Ryan Rivers. Felipe Reis, who also was around at turn number 2, finished in 11th ahead of Portugal's João Maria Pereira, Lars Lambers, Carlos Nees, Zen Lindemann, Jens Moonen, Ziggy Stubber, Victor Reitz, Lieke van Berkel and Peter Appelman rounding out the top 20. Bodine Blankenberg takes 21st ahead of Finn Albert Jorgensen, Max Moore, Jeff Verbeek, Bran van der Weyck, Seys Moyes, Ryan Gandor from Canada in 27th. 28th, Paulin van Breet. Then we've got Jonathan Falkenberg. Hasnain Khan rounds out the top 30 with Ryan Rampadarath in 31st. Mads Kraft and Mikael Kumas, the last of the classified finishers, in 33rd position. Vic van Kampenhout, we lost, unfortunately, on turn 8 on lap 4. And then Alexander Van Meeuwen, mechanical black flag from a flailing rear bumper on lap 3. And Adrien Stiens not making the start.